KDP has spoken out about their AI disclosure policies with a statement over on their website. We're going to take a look at this with a professional lawyer to break down exactly what they've said and what we as authors need to know about it.
My name is Tony Iliakostas. I'm an adjunct professor of entertainment law and IP at New York Law School, and I have an Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok account called the IP Professor that's dedicated to all things intellectual property.
We've been talking about how AI is impacting Amazon and KDP, how we can be using it in our author lives. We have a full playlist on the legal, creative, and ethical side of using AI and what we can and cannot do. We've already talked about how AI can compromise some of our copyright protections, but KDP has now given us both rules and regulations on what we can do with AI, how we have to disclose it, and now they've spoken out about why that is. We're going to take a look at the update and then we're going to have Tony react to it. So they have placed out a blog on their page saying an update to the KDP title creation limits. As previously shared, we are actively monitoring the rapid evolution of generative AI and the impact it is having on reading, writing, and publishing, and we remain committed to providing the best possible shopping, reading, and publishing experience for our authors and customers. While we have not seen a spike in our publishing numbers, in order to help protect against abuse, we are lowering the volume limits we have in place on new title creations. Very few publishers will be impacted by this change, and those who are will be notified and have the option to seek an exception. As always, all KDP publishers must adhere to our KDP content guidelines, regardless of how the content was created. We will continue to keep the interests of our authors, publishers, and readers at the forefront of our thinking and decision making. Thank you for being a part of the KDP community. So, Tony, they have gone out of their way to say we are now putting limits on this so that people cannot come in and just spam KDP with AI generated content very, very quickly. From a legal perspective, what does all of this mean?
So first off, kudos to Amazon for creating what sounds like a pretty forthright policing effort on their part to treat anything that is sort of like fraudulently advertised as authentic that is otherwise created using artificial intelligence. I think that we will likely see this type of trend with other merchants, and I think that we can probably extend this beyond the book sphere. I think that we could talk about the likes of an Etsy, an eBay maybe, or sort of any other website or third-party marketplace that has been known to sort of promote the sale of, let's say, goods from small businesses or anything of that sort. Whether we're talking about, T-shirts, to hoodies, to little statuettes, to even books, whatever it is. So I think that this is certainly a very admirable step in the right direction for Amazon. That said, I think this policy pretty much makes it clear that they have a zero tolerance policy for anyone that tries to say that something was authentically created using an author when in fact it wasn't. I know that there have been some comments in light of our videos where people seem to suggest that you don't have to say that something was generated using artificial intelligence, and people don't realize that lying about that could actually cause your account to completely become non-existent. It could terminate your actual account. That could be basically a very direct violation of the terms and conditions that came with you creating an account on Amazon. So the fact that this statement had to come out from KDP, I think that this is very clearly an answer to all those comments from people that were saying, well, you don't have to necessarily disclose that it was generated using artificial intelligence. I think that, yeah, you do. You have to be very honest and forthright. And if you are dishonest, that's where you're going to get some type of account termination. Beyond that, I think that this is, again, probably leading to the step in the right direction of creating a transparent marketplace. And this gets to less of the legal issue and more of like an ethical issue, which is now consumers will not be dissuaded as to knowing whether or not the product they're buying was authentically created by an author or created by artificial intelligence. And likely, if it was created using artificial intelligence, there would be some type of notice. At least that's what the hope would be, that there would be some type of disclaimer to the consumer so that they know front and center that the product that they're purchasing was created using artificial intelligence. And then, obviously, as this, sort of program rolls out and as certain matters are addressed, certain issues come up, I think that this KDP policy will continue to be perfected. And again, I think that this could be the first domino effect that leads to other third-party marketplaces to creating their own type of an AI policy.
And I think what I find most interesting about the statement that they put out is that they are placing limits on how much a person can be publishing or an entity can be publishing,
Yeah.
and specifically how quickly. But they did say it's not going to impact most people. And if it does, they will be notified and can ask for an exception. So, this is where they actually have the ability to prove that they are working with real humans. It is truly created by human content and not created in mass by AI, and they'll be able to give that proof and get an exception to that rule. So even if your account is flagged for that, as long as you're doing things the ethical way, they are going to be able to then provide some exceptions for you so that you can continue as a publisher or a big publisher with lots of titles coming out. You're then able to put that out without any hindrance. Any thoughts on what information we might want to have ready when reaching out for those exceptions?
I mean, have all the information that kind of lays out proof that you are authentically creating in mass this content. I mean, to your point, I was going to say that that is like I'm going to call it like it is. That's the golden egg exception right there. That is literally them giving you the benefit of the doubt to prove, because there are not many service providers out there that are willing to
Yeah.
like let you have that sort of like benefit of the doubt. Give yourself an opportunity to appeal this decision. There are services like a YouTube that will be quick to take down your video if it even contains like 1 second of something that is copyrighted material that belongs to someone else. And even if you sit there and have a conscionable, legitimate argument for fair use, they're just going to tell you go kick rocks, and they won't care. And that's the case with a lot of service providers. So the fact that Amazon will be willing to hear exceptions and allow you to make a plea for some type of exception, that's great. That said, make sure you have that actual authentic proof that you're not mass producing content using artificial intelligence, because that obviously is going to be the red flag that no one in their right mind creates 900 books in 1 week. That obviously is a pretty a glaring and alarming number. But if you're the type of person that puts out, let's say, micro novels, and let's say you do 5 a week, all right, maybe there's something there where you could provide some legitimate proof of you're the actual one putting in the time and the effort. Maybe you have
Mhm.
metadata that shows that you were the one authoring it. Whatever it is, anything and everything that points to human authorship and the lack of AI usage will probably be the best evidence that you could bring forth to get that exception, and you can move along using the KDP program.
And as KDP puts out further explanations, rules, regulations, and guidelines, we will be going over them with Tony. So if you see something before I see it, please send it to me. We're going to make sure we get that taken care of for you. But if you've got questions related to this or anything on the legal side of using AI in publishing or the legal side of publishing in general, Tony is our guy. He's coming back for upcoming episodes. Drop those down below. And as always, you can hang out with Tony on his social media. Tony, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at the IP Professor. You can check out my entertainment law podcast called Scene. New episodes drop every Friday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Follow along for daily videos helping you navigate the world of your publishing, from your writing to your publishing to your marketing. We want to make sure that we are keeping you legally protected, ethically, and creatively protected. Lots of ideas on how we can be using AI inside of publishing legally, ethically, creatively, and ways that you can be marketing to save time and effort so that you can make this your most profitable year ever with less time, less work, less stress, because your business is working on your behalf to make you money while you're living out your best life so that you can live your author dreams. We'll see you in the upcoming episodes.